at the far edge of the Milky Way, where the stars look thin and lonely and the night feels deeper than anywhere else. Humanity built a quiet chain of research stations. These stations did not appear on public maps, nor did any alien government know their exact purpose. To the rest of the galaxy, humans looked like harmless newcomers, still learning how to travel between stars, still trying to understand the complex politics of thousands of species. Many alien races smiled politely at humans and whispered behind their backs that they were too curious and too fast in their progress. Most believed humans were average species that would take many centuries to become powerful. This belief was convenient for humanity, and they made sure it stayed that way. One of these hidden places was Station Epsilon, a dark metal structure floating near a dying pale blue star. The star had lost most of its light and warmth long ago, and that made it perfect for a secret base. Almost no ships passed through this part of space, and the few that did would instantly turn away, believing the region to be unstable due to strange gravitational readings. Those readings, however, were not natural. They came from something humanity had discovered and then carefully hidden. Dr. Aaron Hales stood at the observation window of Epsilon 9, watching the faint glow of the star. He was a strategist, a scientist, and one of the very few people who understood what humanity was protecting. To most people on Earth, Aaron was just another researcher. But here, on this lonely station, he supervised operations that could change the fate of entire civilizations. His work was surrounded by silence and secrecy. The galaxy saw humans as harmless because Aaron and people like him worked day and night to make sure no one suspected the truth. Human ships arriving at the frontier always behaved normally, sending cheerful messages and pretending to explore harmless mineral fields or study radiation clouds. But underneath, their real mission was to protect a discovery hidden deep in the shadows of dark matter space. Years ago, humanity detected strange signals frequencies that did not behave like anything known. At first, scientists believed it was an undiscovered natural phenomenon. But as they built instruments and moved closer to the source, they realized it was something far older and far more powerful, something left behind by a civilization that no longer existed. These relics, buried in invisible dark matter pockets, did not follow normal physics. They bent space, light, and energy around them in ways no current technology could explain. The first time humans touched one, the device reacted violently, sending out a pulse that knocked out an entire fleet's worth of sensors for hours. But that was just the beginning. Humanity kept exploring, kept taking risks, kept pushing deeper, and little by little they learned that these relics might not just be unknown technology, they might be dangerous enough to erase entire worlds if handled incorrectly. Because of this danger, the human government decided that these discoveries must remain secret. If the galaxy knew what humans had found, they would panic. Some species would launch attacks to claim the relics for themselves, others would demand humans destroy them, and a few powerful empires afraid of what humans might learn might even decide to wipe Earth off the map to stop any potential threat before it grew. So the safest choice was silence. Dr. Aaron became one of the main figures behind that. Silence. Every decision went through him: where stations were placed, how communication was encrypted, who had access, and how the relics were studied. Each day he reviewed hundreds of reports: energy spikes, gravitational anomalies, changes in dark matter density. If something looked suspicious, he activated lockdown protocols or redirected ships. Some days were quiet. Other days, alarms echoed through the station, and he had to act within seconds. Despite the seriousness of his work, Aaron often felt a strange calm when looking at the empty space outside. The loneliness of the frontier suited him. There was no noise here, no politics, no mistrust, just cold stars and the soft hum of machines. Sometimes, he wondered if the rest of the galaxy would ever understand why humanity had chosen to remain quiet. Most species believed power meant showing strength openly, but humans had learned from their own history that some knowledge was too dangerous to display. Meanwhile, the outside galaxy continued with its normal rhythm. Political arguments, trade disputes, cultural exchanges, scientific debates, all happening light years away from Epsilon 9 of the Galactic Council, barely mentioned humanity in their meetings. To them, humans were just another small force trying to find their place. Some species even laughed at humans for always asking questions, always exploring, always tinkering with things they did not fully understand. But if they could see what Aaron saw every day, their laughter would turn into fear. Deep beneath Epsilonian's lower decks, guarded by coded doors and multiple layers of energy shields, lay a chamber almost no one in the galaxy knew existed. This chamber held fragments of the relic that humanity had managed to transport. The pieces floated inside containment fields, shifting, glowing, and sometimes changing shape as though they were alive. Scientists studying the relic wore specialized suits and followed strict protocols. Even a small mistake could create a reaction that would spread far beyond the station. Aaron monitored every experiment, every vibration, every flicker of unusual light. Humans were not only studying the relic, they were trying to understand its purpose. Why had the ancient civilization created something so powerful? Why had they hidden it inside dark matter pockets instead of using it? And most importantly, why had they disappeared? There were no answers yet, but humanity knew they had stumbled onto something much bigger than themselves. Aaron remembered the day the first relic was brought into the vault. The station had gone silent. Every scientist stood frozen as the glowing structure slowly entered the chamber. It pulsed like a beating heart, sending gentle waves through the air. The room felt colder, heavier. Some people felt dizzy. One scientist even fainted. No one understood what the relic was saying, but everyone sensed the same thing. It was not just a machine. It was a warning. Over time, Aaron grew used to the responsibility, but he never relaxed completely. His eyes always searched for hidden risks. He slept lightly, knowing that one wrong decision could bring disaster. But he also felt proud. Humanity had chosen a difficult path. Instead of showing off their discovery or trying to gain power, they chose to protect the galaxy from something it could not handle. Aaron believed this was what made humans different. Other species raced for recognition, trying to prove their strength. Humans, however, carried their burden quietly, like a guardian standing in the shadows. They did not want conflict. They did not want to rule. They only wanted to prevent a mistake that could turn galaxies into ashes. Still, secrecy had its own dangers. Rumors had begun spreading in distant parts of space. Pilots reported strange lights near the frontier. Explorers claimed their sensors picked up unknown signals. A few governments had even sent small probes to investigate. So far, humans managed to intercept or mislead all of them. But Aaron knew this could not last forever. One day someone would come too close. Someone would see something they should not. But for now, the frontier remained quiet. Humans continued their work under the shadow of the dying star. Aaron watched, planned, and prepared. He understood the fragility of peace. He knew the galaxy lived in innocence, unaware of the fire sleeping in the dark. And he knew that humanity, at the edge of the galaxy, guarded secrets that could burn civilizations down if revealed. That heavy truth stayed with him every moment. But so did his determination. Until the day the galaxy was ready or until danger forced another choice. Humans would continue protecting what they had found. That would keep the secret. They would stand at the edge of the stars, silent and vigilant, because sometimes the greatest strength is not loud power. Sometimes it is the courage to hide the truth for the sake of everyone else. Asterisk across the galaxy, far from the quiet darkness that surrounded Station Epsilon 9, life moved quickly. Thousands of species traded goods, argued about laws, formed alliances, fought over territories, and tried to climb higher in political power. In this busy environment, humans were still considered new and harmless. Most alien governments did not pay attention to Earth's small activities on the frontier. They believed humans were simply curious explorers who liked building research stations in unusual places. But slowly, whispers began spreading in the Galactic Council. Rumors always started small, perhaps a pilot noticing strange energy spikes near human-controlled sectors, or an explorer reporting that a human ship behaved oddly when scanned. At first, these whispers were ignored, but as more reports arrived, a few powerful governments began to feel uneasy. They wondered whether humans were hiding something. Among the suspicious ones was the Xia Dominion, a large empire known for its advanced intelligence network. The Xia believed strongly that no species should hide activities near the edge of the galaxy. Their leaders feared secrets more than weapons, because secrets often led to sudden threats. When they noticed that humans were building more stations than usual, placing them in areas with strange gravitational patterns, they decided to investigate quietly. One evening, while Dr. Aaron Hale reviewed a list of encrypted data logs in his office, far away a Xia reconnaissance probe drifted silently past the boundary of human territory. The probe was small, almost invisible, and coated with dark reflective material to hide from sensors. It was not searching for human warships or weapons. It was listening. It scanned for communication signals, energy emissions, and unusual frequencies, and for the first time it detected something unexpected: fragments of encrypted human transmissions coming from Station Epsilon-9. The probe recorded everything, unaware that it had just uncovered a secret humans desperately wanted to protect. Back on the Council homeworld, Xia intelligence officers studied the fragments. They played the recordings again and again, trying to decode them. They could not break the encryption. But the tone of the data, the structure of the signals, and the power levels did not look normal. It looked like something humans didn't want anyone to understand. The officers presented their findings to the Dominion's high command. Within hours, the council halls were filled with worried voices. Representatives from different species gathered around shimmering holographic tables, watching the data fragments float in the air. Some shrugged, claiming it was probably nothing. Others frowned, sensing hidden danger. The fear grew stronger because humans were unpredictable compared to older species. Humans adapted quickly, invented things faster than expected, and took risks no one else dared to take. If they had discovered something powerful and kept it hidden, what did that mean for the galaxy's balance? A council member from the Veil Republic asked whether humans had built secret weapons. Another from the Telna Union wondered if humans had discovered a new energy source. A few suggested humans might be experimenting with dangerous physics. Every guess was worse than the one before. Meanwhile, Aaron had no idea that the council was panicking. He sat in a strategy room, discussing upcoming experiments for the relic in the Nova Vault, his mind focused on safety, containment, and the possibility of small cracks forming in dark matter pockets. He believed humans still had time before anyone noticed anything unusual, but he was wrong. The Xia Dominion did not wait for permission from the council. They launched a covert mission of their own, a small team of elite operatives trained in infiltration. Their goal was simple: find out what humans were hiding, no matter the cost. The Dominion believed that if humans were keeping secrets, they must be dangerous, and if the secrets were dangerous, the galaxy needed to know. Arin started noticing signs of tension only when Earth Command sent him a message marked urgent. The message explained that several alien governments were asking questions about unusual transmissions. Some even requested permission to inspect human frontier stations. Aaron tensed immediately. If aliens got too close, the relics could be exposed. If that happened, the consequences would spread like wildfire. He gathered his security team and instructed them to increase the station's sensor range. All ship activity would be monitored. Communications would become even more tightly encrypted. He reminded the team that even one tiny mistake, a message sent to the wrong frequency, a power surge, a detectable scan, could reveal everything. But despite his efforts, the situation outside grew worse. In council chambers, discussions turned heated. Some species argued that humans were being unfairly accused. Others demanded transparency. A few governments even proposed sending a combined inspection team to force humans into revealing whatever they were hiding. The council was on the edge of splitting into two large factions, one that trusted humans and one that feared them. The Xia Dominion stood firmly in the second group. They claimed the unknown was too dangerous to ignore. They displayed their probes' recordings to everyone. Even though the data was incomplete, it was enough to frighten many representatives. The recordings showed bursts of power, strange distortions, and coded signals that did not look like typical research transmissions. Many leaders assumed humanity had made a discovery beyond anything the council had approved. Aaron received constant updates. The pressure on Earth was growing, and governments were demanding answers. Earth responded cautiously, saying the frontier stations were simply studying dark matter anomalies. But the council did not believe this explanation. Too many things did not add up. Inside Epsilon 9, the atmosphere grew tense. Scientists whispered among themselves. Guards checked their weapons more often. Engineers triple-checked shield generators and communication nodes. Everyone felt the weight of something coming, something big. Aaron walked through the corridors, watching the tired faces of his team. He knew they trusted him to protect the mission. He knew he must find a way to keep the relic secret while avoiding a full political crisis. But he also sensed that the galaxy was slowly waking up to the truth, like a sleeping giant opening its eyes. The Dominion probe's discovery had done more damage than anyone realized. Not only had it exposed the existence of unusual activity near Epsilon 9, but it also pushed suspicious governments into action. Some feared that humans wanted to use whatever they found to gain power. Others believed humans were irresponsible and might accidentally release something catastrophic. Arin felt the pressure increase when he received another message from Earth's command. This one was more serious. It warned that the Dominion was preparing to send more ships near the frontier. These ships would not ask for permission. They would not respond to warnings. They would simply approach the dark matter region, pretending to be ordinary explorers. Aaron's heart sank. If even one Dominion ship came too close, the relic's gravitational signature might be detected. And once detected, there would be no hiding it. For years, humanity had thrived under a quiet strategist: stay friendly, stay humble, stay unnoticed. But now, aliens were looking their way with suspicion instead of trust. Their silence, once their greatest protection, had become the reason others doubted them. Still, humans could not reveal the truth. If the galaxy knew what humanity had found, panic would spread faster than light. Civilizations would fight over the relic, destroy each other, or unleash something they could not control. Aaron understood this better than anyone. The relic in the Nova Vault was not a treasure. It was a danger that humanity alone had the courage to guard. But the galaxy did not see humans as guardians. They saw them as liars. As council fears grew stronger, small protests started on alien worlds. News networks speculated about secret human projects. Some called humans reckless experimenters. Others suggested humans were planning a surprise attack. Lies and theories spread everywhere, twisting the truth into something frightening. And at the center of it all was a single question: what exactly were humans hiding at the edge of the galaxy? Aaron knew the storm was coming. He felt the shift in the air, the growing tension in every message he received. For the first time in years, humanity's peaceful mask was cracking and the galaxy was paying attention. Soon, someone would try to break into their territory. Soon, the secret would no longer be safe. And Aaron knew that when that day arrived, nothing in the galaxy would remain the same. Inside Station Epsilon 9, the days felt longer and heavier. Everyone sensed the tension building around them, like a storm waiting to break. Dr. Aaron Hale tried to focus on his work, But the messages from Earth Command kept reminding him that the Xia Dominion was moving closer. Their ships were not powerful fleets, but small, sharp, silent vessels designed for infiltration. They were coming not to attack, but to uncover the truth that humans had kept hidden for years. Aaron walked through the central control room, checking the station's scanners. The large holographic display showed dozens of green lines normal space traffic. But near the edge of the screen, he saw small flickers that did not belong. These flickers were too well hidden to be natural. They were the shadows of ships that did not want to be seen. He called security officers to double check, but by the time they increased the sensor resolution, the flickers were gone. Aaron felt a cold feeling in his stomach. He knew that the Xia Dominion had already begun their operation. They were testing the station's defenses, looking for weaknesses. He increased patrols, activated secondary shields, and ordered all communication lines to switch to deep encryption still. He knew it might not be enough later that night, when most scientists had gone to rest. A soft alarm rang quietly through the lower decks. It was not loud enough to wake everyone, but it was enough to alert Aaron. He rushed to the security panel, and his eyes narrowed when he saw the readings. A small, unidentified craft had entered human space. It was fast, silent, and almost invisible, just like the Dominion's infiltration ships. But this time, it came too close. Aaron ordered immediate lockdown on all lower-level access points. He instructed guards to take positions but not fire unless absolutely necessary. Humans did not want to start a war. They wanted to protect a secret. His orders were strict. Observe quietly, stop any intruders, and prevent contact with the Nova Vault at all costs. While the station moved into silent alert mode, the infiltration craft drifted toward an area with low sensor visibility. It released 5 small pods that floated like metal seeds in the darkness. These pods carried the Dominion's elite operatives, silent, armored, and trained to break into any facility in the galaxy. They attached themselves to the station's outer hull, cutting through the metal with precision tools that left no visible damage. They entered through maintenance tunnels, the parts of the station rarely used by humans. Their suits absorbed sound, so even footsteps could not be heard. They moved like shadows. By the time human sensors registered the intrusion, the operatives were already inside. Aaron watched the screen as red dots appeared on the station map. They were moving toward the restricted sector. His heartbeat quickened, but he stayed calm. The Nova Vault was deep underground, behind multiple layers of security. But the Dominion operatives did not know that. They were following the energy traces and gravitational distortions, the only clues they had. Arin ordered his rapid response unit to intercept them quietly. These were highly trained agents who understood the seriousness of the mission. They knew they were not facing ordinary thieves but elite infiltrators. They moved quickly. But the Dominion team was faster. The station's lights flickered for a second. An effect caused by a power rerouting the operatives performed. They hacked into one of the station's minor power conduits, forcing it to open a door that should have stayed sealed. Aaron's eyes widened. He realized the infiltrators were more skilled than expected. Someone in the Dominion had prepared them with frightening accuracy. By now, the Dominion team had reached the outer corridor leading to the Nova Vault's main sector. The corridor was long, silent, and dimly lit. Strange vibrations flowed through the air, the effect of the relic stored below, even though they had never seen the relic. The operatives felt uneasy. Their instincts warned them they were entering a place filled with unknown power. Aaron watched their progress and felt the pressure building in his chest. He made a quick calculation and realized that if the infiltrators reached the vault, even for a moment, they might trigger a reaction from the relic. No one knew how it would behave when exposed to outsiders. Humans had spent years studying its patterns, yet it still acted unpredictably. One wrong movement could wake it up. He ordered the rapid response unit to engage. The first clash happened near a maintenance junction. 3 Dominion operatives encountered for human guards. That humans tried to negotiate, shouting for the infiltrators to stop and identify themselves. But the Dominion had come prepared for anything. They moved swiftly, using non-lethal weapons to stun 2 guards and escape before backup arrived. Aaron clenched his jaw. The Dominion team wanted information, not bloodshed, but their speed and precision were terrifying. They slipped past 2 more human teams, using holographic decoys and advanced cloaking devices. Finally, Aaron decided he needed to act personally. He grabbed an encrypted access card and hurried toward the lower levels, his footsteps echoing softly in the metal corridors. He knew the station better than anyone. If he could reach the central control access before the infiltrators, he could lock down the final doors to the Nova Vault. But he had only minutes. Meanwhile, the Dominion operatives reached the last barrier, massive door guarded by 2 human officers. The officers aimed their rifles and warned them to retreat. This time, the infiltrators did not attack. They scanned the officers and recognized something unexpected: fear, not anger. That humans were not guarding something for power. They were guarding it like someone guards a dangerous animal. One operative hesitated. He wondered what could be hidden behind the door that made even armed guards look terrified before they could decide what to do next. Aaron arrived. He stepped between the guards and the infiltrators, raising his hands. He did not carry a weapon. His voice was steady as he warned them that they had reached a place they were not prepared to see. The Dominion leader demanded answers. Aaron refused. He explained that the vault contained something unstable, something not meant for the galaxy. But to the operatives, this sounded like another human trick. They moved forward. Aaron had no choice. He activated the emergency lockdown. Heavy metal plates slammed down from both sides, trapping the Dominion operatives inside the corridor. They were sealed between two barriers with no escape. Alarms echoed throughout the station. But the operatives were not done. They used a high-frequency cutter on the wall and forced a breach into the restricted chamber next to the vault. They stumbled inside and froze. The room glowed with soft blue light coming from the relic fragments, floating inside a containment field. The structures shifted slowly, changing shapes that should not be possible. The air felt thick, as if holding its breath. The relic emitted faint humming, like a whisper from something ancient and alive. The Dominion team stared in horror. Their helmets recorded everything, every vibration, every unnatural movement, every gravitational fluctuation. One operative stepped closer, and the relic reacted instantly, sending a pulse of light that shook the entire chamber. Aaron rushed in behind them, shouting for them to move back, but it was too late in those few seconds. The Dominion operatives saw enough to understand the truth. This was technology far older and more powerful than anything known. It was the kind of power that could destroy planets or twist reality itself. They realized humanity had been studying a dangerous relic, not building a weapon. They realized humans were trying to protect the galaxy, not threaten it. But the damage was already done. Their suits had transmitted fragments of the visuals back to the Dominion ship waiting in deep space, and that ship had already sent it to their empire. Arin knew in that instant that the secret was no longer safe. The breach had happened. The galaxy would never be the same again. Asterisk. The moment the Dominion operatives saw the relic inside the chamber, everything began to fall apart. Their armor cameras kept recording every second, every movement, every strange glow of the relic. They did not understand what they were looking at, but they knew it was something dangerous and beyond the technology of any living species. Even though Aaron tried to stop them, even though he shouted that they were risking everything by stepping too close, their fear pushed them to retreat. They forced their way back into the corridor, trying to escape the vibrations that filled the air. But the real damage had already been done. Their suits had transmitted fragments of the relic footage to their ship, and the ship had sent those fragments to the Zaya Dominion. Within minutes, the data spread across the Dominion's intelligence network. Within hours, rumors began to fly across the galaxy at a speed faster than any ship. Arin stood in the control room, staring at the emergency reports flashing across the screens. His heart felt heavy, as if a weight had settled inside his chest. He knew what would happen next. Humanity's secret was out. Not completely, not perfectly, and not in full detail, but enough for the galaxy to panic, enough for governments to fear humans, enough for enemies to imagine humanity holding a weapon that could reshape stars. Earth Command sent urgent messages asking for updates. Aaron explained everything: the breach, the recordings, the encounter with the infiltrators, and the relic's reaction. He could hear the exhaustion and worry in the voices of the leaders speaking to him. They all knew the same truth: an unstoppable storm was now forming across the galaxy. On the Zaya homeworld, high-ranking officials watched the footage again and again. Although it was incomplete and glitchy, it was terrifying. The relic pieces inside the containment field glowed and twisted like living light. The gravitational distortions bent the air around them. Even without understanding the technology, the Zaya leaders saw enough to assume the worst. They believed humans had discovered an ancient weapon. They believed humans were hiding it to gain power. They believed they had to act before humans became unstoppable. The Dominion released the footage to the Galactic Council. They claimed it was proof that humanity was secretly studying dangerous precursor technology. They argued that humans were preparing something that could threaten the entire galaxy. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted over each other, demanding answers. Some accused humans of lying for years. Others blamed the Dominion for invading human territory. Everyone demanded to know the truth. Aaron followed the council debate through the station's secure channels. He watched the holographic projections of alien leaders pointing fingers, their faces filled with fear and anger. He listened as some species demanded immediate inspections of all human frontier stations. Others proposed economic sanctions. A few even suggested forming a joint military force to pressure Earth into revealing everything. For years, humanity had tried to appear harmless. They had smiled, traded goods, shared simple technology, and avoided political fights. But now, that peaceful image was gone. The galaxy no longer saw them as curious newcomers. They saw them as a threat hidden in the shadows. Earth Command sent a calm, firm message to the Council, explaining that the relic was not a weapon but an unstable piece of ancient technology. They said humanity was studying it only to prevent accidents. They said revealing it earlier would have caused unnecessary panic. But no one wanted calm explanations. Fear had already taken over. On some planets, civilians began protesting in the streets. News channels spun stories about humans preparing for war. Analysts discussed humanity's unpredictable behavior and rapid scientific progress. They warned that humans might use the relic to bargain for power or intimidate other species. Most of these assumptions were wrong, but fear rarely listened to facts. The darkest discussions came from the militaristic governance. They met secretly, away from the council, and whispered that humans needed to be disarmed. They argued that even if the relic was not a weapon yet, humans could turn it into one. Some proposed destroying the human stations at the frontier. Others suggested blockading Earth. A few even discussed a preemptive strike on human territories. Aaron knew all this because Earth shared every intercepted communication. He felt a cold dread as he read each new report. The galaxy was reacting exactly as he feared. They did not see humanity's silence as protection. They saw it as deceit. And the relic, glowing inside the vault, seemed to pulse stronger every time the fear outside grew. Inside Epsilon 9, the atmosphere changed. Scientists worked quietly but nervously. Guards stayed at their posts without speaking much. Everyone felt the weight of the crisis. They knew their work had to continue, but they also knew the galaxy might soon turn against them. Aaron moved from room to room, checking systems, calming people and reminding them that their mission mattered. But inside, he felt the same fear they did. He had protected their secret for years, but now even the strongest defenses could not control the reactions of billions of beings across the galaxy. The Dominion operatives detained inside the station refused to speak at first, but when they finally broke their silence, their words shocked everyone. They confessed that entering the vault had terrified them. They admitted that the relic was beyond their understanding. One of them whispered that it felt alive. Another said they sensed danger in the air, as if the relic was watching them. Aaron listened to their testimonies, but he already knew how the relic made people feel. Its presence always carried a strange heaviness, a reminder that it came from a civilization far older and far more advanced. Earth Command asked Aaron to prepare a message for the council. They wanted him to explain the real reason behind humanity's secrecy. Aaron spent hours thinking about his words. He needed to make the galaxy understand that humanity did not hide the relic for power. They hid it to protect everyone. The relic was unstable. Even small experiments caused unpredictable reactions. If mishandled, it could tear through space, collapse fields, or create energy bursts strong enough to vaporize ships. Humans knew this because they had studied it carefully. The rest of the galaxy might panic and try to copy its technology without understanding the risks. When Aaron finally sent his message, it spread across the council's communication network. In simple, steady language, he explained that the relic was dangerous and unpredictable. He described the experiments, the energy bursts, the gravitational shocks, and the near. He told the truth. Humanity was not preparing for war. They were trying to prevent a disaster. His message calmed some species, but others only grew more suspicious. They asked why humans were still studying the relic if it was so dangerous. They questioned why humanity refused to surrender it to the council for safe storage. They wondered whether humans wanted to use the relic as a bargaining tool. Aaron watched these reactions with a sinking heart. He knew the truth. The relic could not be moved safely. If removed from its dark matter pocket, it could activate uncontrollably. Only the carefully built environment inside Epsilon then kept it stable. The council did not believe him. While the debate grew louder, some species started preparing their fleets, not for war, but for precaution. That was the word they used, but Aaron knew better. Precaution in a fearful galaxy always turned into conflict. Epsilon 9 began receiving scans from foreign ships. Some were obvious, others tried to hide behind asteroids or radiation clouds. Aaron increased the station's security, but he knew it would not be enough if a real force arrived. The galaxy was on the edge of panic, and the panic was turning into anger. Aaron knew that the truth, once revealed in the wrong way, could burn entire civilizations. The relic was dangerous, but the fear surrounding it was equally dangerous. And now both dangers were growing at the same time, feeding each other like flames in dry grass. The storm he had feared for years had finally arrived. Everyone wanted an answer. No one trusted anyone. And the relic, in its silent chamber, continued to pulse as if sensing the chaos forming around it. Aaron could only hope that the galaxy would understand the truth before it destroyed itself. Aaron stood inside the deepest chamber of Station Epsilon 9, the room that very few humans had ever seen. The Nova Vault door was open in front of him, and the relics inside were glowing with a soft, pulsing light. It was not the dangerous kind of light that burned or shocked. It was something else, something almost alive. The room felt strange, like the air was holding its breath. Aaron felt the same way. He had seen these relics for years, studied them, tested them, feared them, but today was different. Today the entire galaxy was watching, and humanity's secrets were no longer secrets. The weight of it all pressed heavily on his mind. Ever since the Dominion soldiers had broken into the vault and leaked what they saw, chaos had spread faster than anyone expected. Every species had its own reaction. Some panicked, some blamed humans, and some were simply terrified. Many wanted to attack humanity before humans could use the relics against them. Others wanted to force humans to hand over all the technology and knowledge they had collected. And a few, the wiser ones, wanted to understand why humans had hidden everything for so long. Aaron had tried to explain it many times, but fear was louder than reason. No one wanted to listen. Outside the station, the galaxy felt like it was standing at the edge of a cliff. One wrong move could push everyone into disaster. Warships from different species circled human space. Every council member argued daily. Messages arrived one after another, some demanding answers, others threatening war. Humanity had never asked for attention, but now it had more attention than it could handle, and Aaron was in the middle of all of it. He took a slow breath as he walked deeper into the vault. The relics were strange objects, shaped in ways no human could fully understand. Some looked like floating crystals. Others were metallic structures that changed shape when you looked at them from different angles. One was a sphere with swirling patterns inside it, like a tiny galaxy trapped inside its shell. Another was a tall, transparent rod that hummed softly when touched. All of them were powerful. All of them could destroy if handled the wrong way. Aaron remembered the first time he saw one activate. It happened years ago, during a small test with his research team. The relic had produced a beam of light so bright and so hot that it melted part of the testing chamber. If it had happened a few feet to the left, his entire team would have died instantly. After that day, Aaron understood that secrecy was not a choice. It was a responsibility. He turned as a soft alarm beeped from the console near the vault entrance. It was a signal that someone had entered the room. When he looked up, he saw Lyra, one of the engineers who had worked with him for years. She looked exhausted, like she had not slept in days. Everyone in the team looked that way now. "They're calling for you," Lyra said quietly. "The Galactic Council wants another update." Aaron rubbed his forehead. "Let them wait a few minutes. Something feels wrong with the relics today." Lyra glanced at the glowing objects. "They've been behaving like that for hours, brighter than usual, almost like they're responding to something." Responding, that word lingered in Aaron's mind. The relics were dangerous, but they were also mysterious, built by a civilization that had vanished long before humans walked the earth. No one knew what they truly were. No one knew why they were made. And no one knew why the precursors, the ancient builders, had all disappeared. But Aaron had always suspected that these relics were connected to that disappearance. He stepped closer to the largest relic, the swirling sphere. The patterns inside were moving faster now, spinning like a storm trapped in glass. As he stared at it, the lights in the chamber flickered. The temperature dropped. Lyra gasped softly, "Aaron, something's happening." Before he could respond, the sphere released a sudden burst of light. It was not violent. It was bright but soft, like a sunrise spreading through the room. Aaron felt warmth on his face. Lyra shielded her eyes, but she did not run. The entire vault became silent. Even the hum of the machines faded. Then a figure appeared inside the light. It was not a human, not an alien, not anything Aaron had seen before. It was a projection, a hologram made not of pixels but of pure energy. The figure looked tall, with elongated limbs and a face that was almost featureless. It felt ancient, older than anything in the galaxy. Aaron's heart raced, but he forced himself to stay calm. The relic was projecting something, maybe a message, maybe a warning. The figure raised its arm, and the room filled with a deep, echoing voice. The words were not in any language Aaron knew, yet somehow he understood every sentence. It was as if the relic translated the message straight into his mind. "We are the makers of these devices," the voice said, "and we speak across the ages to whoever finds them. If you are hearing this, then our time has long ended. Our civilizations have fallen. Our memories are dust." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes wide. Aaron felt his chest tighten. This was it. The truth humanity had guessed but never confirmed. The voice continued, "We created these relics not for war, but for progress. We wanted to shape our universe, to change its laws, to control the forces that bound reality together. But power without limits is a danger even to its creators. We made a mistake so great that it ended our people. The devices were misused, uncontrolled, and they opened paths to destruction that no one could stop." Aaron swallowed. The pieces fell into place. The precursors had not been killed by an enemy. They had destroyed themselves. The figure's voice grew softer, almost sad. "If you have found our relics, learn from our tragedy. Use them not as weapons, but as warnings. They are too powerful for any civilization to control. Hide them, protect them. Do not repeat our mistakes." The lights slowly dimmed. The figure faded. The room returned to its normal state. But the message still echoed in Aaron's mind. Lyra stood frozen, her hands trembling. That changes everything," she whispered. "Yes," Aaron said quietly. "It does." Within hours, the message spread across the galaxy. Every ship, every council member, every species received the translation. The reaction was immediate. Fear turned into understanding. Anger turned into shock. The galaxy finally realized that humanity had not been hiding power. They had been hiding danger, not for their own advantage, but to keep everyone safe. The council ships slowly backed away from human borders. Negotiations began. Not arguments, not demands, real conversations. A pact was proposed, a joint agreement to seal the relics forever, with strict rules, constant monitoring, and no attempts to reactivate them. It was not easy. Many leaders still struggled with fear. Some still distrusted humans, but the message from the precursors left no room for doubt. The relics were too dangerous. No species could own them. No species could use them. In the final meeting, the council asked Aaron a simple question. Will humanity agree to close the vault forever? Aaron thought of everything. The years of study, the dangers, the sacrifices, the lives saved, and the message from a civilization that had destroyed itself. He knew the answer. Yes, he said. Humanity will help seal the vault, and we will guard it. Not for ourselves, but for everyone. Days later, the Nova Vault was officially sealed. New security systems were built. New agreements were signed. The relics were locked behind layers of protection, deeper than ever before. Only a few trusted individuals across the galaxy held the keys, and Aaron was one of them. When the work was done, Aaron stood once more outside the sealed door. The room felt quieter than before, almost peaceful. He knew the burden was heavy, but he did not feel fear. He felt purpose. Humanity was no longer a mysterious outsider. They were protectors, carrying a responsibility that few could understand. As the station lights dimmed for the night cycle, Aaron whispered to himself, "The galaxy is safer now." And somewhere, deep inside the sealed vault, the relics lay silent, watched over by the species brave enough to hide power that could burn civilizations down, and wise enough to never use it.